This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter, and welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this day. And on this day, July 28th, 1994. Yes, this will be the first time in a while that I do it on this day. But anyway, another perfect game was thrown in baseball. Well, 3 years prior, in 1991, Dennis Martinez threw a perfect game against the Dodgers, and I did that thing last year. But oddly enough, the next perfect game would be July 20th, 1994. It's Kenny Rogers of the Texas Rangers took on the California Angels at the ballpark in Arlington. Rogers had only had 98 pitches for the masterpiece, and 7 times he actually had 3-ball counts to hitters, which meant that if he threw another ball that was ball 4, a walk, it takes away the perfect game. It's the most recent no-hitter in Ranger history. And anyway, it was a key game and all that. Of course, the strike loomed. The 94 baseball strike loomed over everybody, so that's why people were a little nervous. But Kenny Rogers threw his perfect game. He almost botched it as Rex Hudler, the crime dog as they call it, had a single line drive to right center, and Rusty Greer dove and caught the ball, shocking a lot of people. Gary DeSastina flew out for the Indians' final out. Texas's offense was led by Jose Canseco, putting up 2 home runs off of Andrew Lorraine. So that was a huge one, to be sure. Pudge Rodriguez even went deep. So Texas took a 4-0 win. And of course, it was 3 years to the day after Dennis's perfect game. Rogers became the 3rd left-hander to get a perfect game, joining Sandy Koufax and Tom Browning. Well, Koufax did his in 65 against the Cubs, and Tom Browning 88 against the Dodgers, I think. Yeah. And 10 years earlier, the Angels had perfect game against Texas, as Mike Witt did it on the final day of the 84 season against Texas. That's the strange thing, is that the Angels got a perfect game on the Rangers, and then vice versa 10 years later. And the funny thing is, the Angels and Rangers are the only 2 teams to record perfect games against each other, so that's kind of weird. So the Texas Rangers looked pretty good. They're still 4 games below 500, though. It's not that bad. But the strange thing is that, Texas, if the 94 baseball strike didn't happen, well, at the time of the 94 baseball strike, the Texas Rangers were actually in first place, below 500. Seattle, California, and Oakland also were below 500. Texas actually had the lead when the strike happened. So Texas probably might have gotten in as the division winner, below 500. Who knows what the last month and a half would have brought? But I mean, the time of the season stopping, Texas was brutalized. They were in first place. Texas would go on to win the division, though, in 96 and 98, but the Yankees got their goat in the first round of the playoffs. So Texas didn't really get into the playoffs as much. By 2010, they actually started to do better. 2010 and 2011, they went to back-to-back World Series. So that was a great time to be alive, if you will, for Texas fans. But their back-to-back World Series appearances didn't lead to a World Series. They got swept by the Giants in 2010, and in 2011 they had a chance. They had 2 chances to knock down the Cardinals. in Game 6 with one strike away, but they blew it. And St. Louis won Game 7. So that's just something to consider that Texas needed to do something great, and they haven't since 2011. Think about it. Anyway, I'm trapped. I'm going to do.